Hello, everybody. I'm really proud to be there today to present you jgitver. jgitver is a project I've been working on for the past 2 years, mainly on my spare time. And the goal of the project is to ease the developer life by providing some tooling to automate project versioning in your development tool land. So first of all, let's present myself. My name is Matthieu. I'm French. I have been involved in IT for the past 20 years now, mostly in Java and Java EE domain. And currently I work for AGFA Healthcare in Bordeaux, south of France. Great place to be. If you are there, probably you are doing development and you are shipping application, library, and so on. And project versioning is something that you do every day. But there are some traps. Let's see some. The first one, here we have an example of a project that we have released as a version 1.0 and we have pushed to production. Everything is fine, everything is smooth. Our developers started to work on a V2 version on this. To do that, they have bumped, we are using Maven here in this case, they have bumped the version to something called 2.0.0 minus snapshot. And they have added on top in the master branch, they have added a new payment system. Everything is fine, but suddenly we discover a bug on our production environment that we need to fix. So as we are clean, we create a branch for that, a bug fix branch in green on screen. There, in order to be able to ship our product later on, we bump the version of our project to 1.0.1 minus snapshot because we are using Maven. We correct that, and then, after that, we want, at some point in time, to reintegrate the bug fix into our master branch. What will occur if we do that? Of course, some of you have already faced that, I'm sure, a merge conflict. Why? Because in both branches, we have done exactly the same modification inside the same file. Problem that we can face, number 2. We all want to do release early, release often. Why? Because it's very important to have feedback very early in the process. But if we do this with some tooling like this one, Maven Release, which I use also from time to time, we are going to face that. And that, how it is called? It is called Git history pollution. We have moved toward a new SCM that allows us to keep our code very clean by changing the commits, the way they look like, by squashing, by rebasing, and so on. So our Git history means something for ourselves. If we look at the Git log, it should reveal something on our project. But due to the tooling that we have today in our hand, we are polluting it just to change the versions. Problem number 3, we work in companies. In companies, we deliver software, and of course, we are all delivering also libraries to build our software. So in our company, we have a best log library, which is, of course, a logging system. Who never wrote some logging libraries? Which was so simple that it had only an info log level. But as a developer, at some point in time, I need to add a debug log level. So what I do, I create a branch. I do my stuff, I commit my stuff, and I run and then clean install so that I build a new version of my library with the debug level. Everything is fine. I continue to work on my application, which uses the library, and thus I can use the debug level. So I start to add debug level statements in my application. My application also builds perfectly well, but 10 minutes later, after adding some new debug, I received that, a compilation error with a method that is not found anymore. I spent some time to understand what occurred, and in fact, meanwhile, John, a colleague of mine, has pushed a new version because he needed a 1 debug level, a 1 level. So by pushing that, a new version appeared on our central Nexus server in our company, and when I have run Maven install, I downloaded this without my debug method. So now I need to stop my development and resync again and so on. So here we have faced a version collision. I think it is time for us to change a little bit our mind, and I propose to look at jgitver and the tooling around a Maven plugin, a Gradle plugin, on what we can do. First, very quickly, jgitver is only based on your Git features, meaning that it will look at your Git history, at the tags, at the commit, at the branches, and from there, it will compute automatically a version for your project. Several other features, of course, it is CI compatible, very configurable, but it comes with good defaults so that you can use it upfront and so on. The main point, if you have just one point to retain from this presentation, is that with jgitver, you will have zero modification inside your POM or your build.gradle file just for project version handling, meaning that the history inside your Git project will be used. The build tool will not modify that. And how do we do release in this case, when you automatically compute that? In fact, it is very simple with jgitver, and it is reduced to the strict minimum as it should be. Just create a tag with the version that you want, and then deploy that in some servers. So time for a demo. It's not fake, so here we are going, I'm going to demo you how jgitver works. First of all, let me create a clean new Maven project. It's a Java project. I push this, sorry. Oh, something weird occurred. Let's relaunch it. Okay. So we have only one commit on this project, and at the moment, if we ask Maven through a Maven validate command to build this, Maven is building this project, and the version is 1.0 minus snapshot. Where does it come from? At the moment, we are not using jgitver, so the version is coming from the POM. Inside the POM, you have this tag saying that we are on the version 1.0. So let's add jgitver now. Okay, so jgitver, in fact, is a Maven core extension, and a Maven core extension comes by a file which is called extension.xml, in which you declare just the plugin that you want to use. So in my case, I just created a file, extension.xml, with the coordinates of jgitver. Once you have done that, if we ask Maven to build again our project, so here I call and then validate to be faster, then things have changed. At the beginning of the build, you see that jgitver enter into the game. So here, the version 1.4.2 is running. And we see also at the very first beginning that jgitver didn't found any specific configuration, so it is using its default. And now the most interesting part is this one. jgitver, for this project, has detected that it was a single project. If it was a multi-module, then you would have had several lines. And here, in fact, it is telling us that it started to change the version of our project from 1.0 minus snapshot, which is what we have in the POM, to something called 0.0.0 minus snapshot. Why that? If we look at the history of our project at the moment, we have only one commit, and we have no history back before our commit. We have no release tag, and so on. So as we have done some modification in our project, I will commit my changes, and we added jgitver. Okay, sorry. So if we look at the history, now we have two commits. If, again, I continue to build my project with two commits, as we are using a policy which is a Maven policy in this case with the Maven plugin, we are still building for the 0.0.0 snapshot. Let's suppose that we have reached a point where our CI is green and so on, and we want to do a release. How do we do a release with jgitver? So we will create a tag in which we are going to do a release. And let's say that this is a release 1.0.0. So this I need at one point in time to tag my project, because at some point in time I will want to go back perhaps on this tag. So this is the only thing that you have to do to be able to tell jgitver that you want to do a release. And if I call Maven again on this, I have done 0 modification in my POM and so on. And here, if we look at the build, Maven has seen that we are building for a 1.0.0 release. So it's time for us, if we want to do a deployment and so on. I will not do that because I have not configured this project to do an external deployment, but I will install locally the version, which is more or less the same at the moment. So I call install there. And if we look at the POM file as it has been installed locally in my version, or as it would be published to Maven Central or something like that if I would deploy, I find the version correctly. It is not 1.0 snapshot anymore. It is really the version that was calculated for the release. So it's really a release. Okay, so we have released our project and we want to continue to work on it. So we are going to add some feature on this. So let me add some feature. And let's commit this feature. Feature. Okay. But as it is a new feature, I want this feature to enter, to be in the V2 of my application. So I need to tell somehow to jgitver, I want to bump the version that you are calculating to something that looks like V2. So in order to do that, we are going to use yet another feature of Git, which is lightweight tag. And for this, I will just tag the current commit and say git tag v2. Once I have done that, for example, this is configurable, and it's in the documentation and so on. So starting from there, the version has changed, and now we are computing a version which is 2.0.0 minus snapshot. Okay, so where are we? So we are above the tag 1.0. We have a new commit, and it is v2.0. So we have discovered the bug, the bug in our production environments. So we would like to create a bug fix for that. So the bug fix, we start from the version 1.2.0, and we do some correction. So let's correct the project. Okay, let's commit that. Correct. Okay. If we build this, we are going to see several features, several other features of jgitver. The first feature is that if I show you where we are in the Git history, so we are above the tag 1.0, we are in the branch bug fix, and the version that has been computed starts with 1.0.1, which is the first release above 1.0 that is shippable. So jgitver automatically incremented the patch version of your from the previous version. Also, as we are working in a branch, it added automatically a qualifier with bug fix so that we can avoid version conflicts. So we can do that, and suppose that we have reached a point where the fix is okay, and we want to tag that to go in production to correct our project. So we tag that. And now we can, of course, release that and correct the production system. But what we want is that we want also to reintegrate this branch to our master branch, because we done important changes there, and we want to reintegrate that. So let's go to the master branch again, and we are going just to do the merge of our bug fix. But this time, you can see that there were no conflicts anymore. Why? Because we have never changed any of the descriptors of the project. So this time our developers have not stopped their job. Everything was fluent, and still at this point in time, we are still building for the V2 version. Even if the graph of our history, in the graph of our history, we find several type of releases, 1.0, 1, and V2. We are still building at this point in time, we are still building at this point in time for the V2 of our project. So we have reintegrated, but still we are working on the V2. Okay, it was very quick, but jgitver has a lot of other features. If you enjoy my talk, please rate me correctly. You have some pointers here to find information on jgitver. It is available for Maven. It is available for Gradle. You just have to use tag and deploy with jgitver, and we are already in use by Oracle Labs, MuleSoft, AGFA, and some other companies. Thank you very much.